Hey everybody, Erwin McCann for ErwinMcCann.com. Welcome to today's show. I'm going to get right to it. I have a very, very important message, a very serious message to share with you in today's show, and I'm going to title it, Are You Willing to Fight for Your Team and Your Dream? Now, before I get to that, I want to just give a big shout out to my partner, Miss Tammy W. Williams. All right, thank you for my new power bar. It's awesome. I now can charge my iPhone. I'm a heavy user of an iPhone anywhere, anyplace, anytime. I don't have to be stranded at airports or malls or any place without a sufficient charge on my phone. So that's awesome. Thank you so much, Tammy. Alrighty, now, are you willing to fight for your team and your dream? Today's message is really designed for leaders, for those of you who are out there in a leadership capacity. And when you are a person, an entrepreneur, maybe you're even in management, but specifically if you're expanding your own business enterprise, you're going to be put to a test. And at every level of leadership, there's a new test to be taken. And how you pass this test will determine how good a leader you are. There will always be tests until the day you draw your last breath. And so, you know, I learned a lot of lessons today because I had to put out some fires. And those fires were not set by me, they were set by other individuals. And I think Les Brown, one of my favorite motivational speakers and authors, says when you have a challenging situation, when you have an attack, when you have a volatile situation that could create a major liability in the lives of others, that's a character building day. But the positive of it is that you can learn. When you pass the test, you learn. So I learned a couple things today. One of the things I learned is I learned about others. I learned how selfish people can be. I learned how awful and insensitive people can be. I learned how insulting people can be to other human beings. I learned that people, when they're facing a challenge, really don't care if they take other people down with them. You know, most of the time when someone's attacking you, it's because there's a battle raging on the inside of them. Okay? That's one to meditate on. Anytime you see someone shooting fireballs at you or shooting Scud missiles at you, it's because there's a war raging on the inside of their soul. The second thing I learned is that there are people who are just unwilling to commit to personal development. If you are a leader, you're going to have to commit to personal development. If you've followed me any time at all, many of you have been partners with me and been team members with me. Commitment to personal development is about building yourself. And when you build yourself, you can build anything. But if you don't build you, you're going to be a hollow house of cards, a very fragile, weak, and very dangerous and toxic individual. So, you know, I'll come back to that in a second. The third thing I learned is about me. And what I learned about me is that I'm a fighter. What I learned is that I will fight for my dream, and I will fight for my people's dream. Because as I go out, as I share what I believe in with the company I'm in and with the team that I'm working with, night after night after night, week after week after week, month after month after month, driving the miles, drinking the coffee, shaking the hands, I am investing time into people. And if anything comes to threaten that, if anything comes to harm that, I will fight for it. What do I mean? For those of you who are parents, you understand. You wouldn't let an intruder in your house. You wouldn't let a stranger come in your house and risk the safety of your children. Mothers, you would you would put yourself in harm's way. You'd lift up a car. Fathers, you would take a bullet for your children. Well, if you're in a leadership capacity and people around you are investing into you, you're like a parent. So you know what I mean. You will fight. And I will fight. That's the one thing I learned about myself today, and I'm proud of it. I will fight. I will walk over coals of fire. I will walk over broken glass, all the way to Siberia for my team. And so, I challenge you today. If you are a leader, if you want to raise up yourself from level 1 leadership to level 2 leadership to level 3 leadership, all the way to level 10 leadership, you're going to have to pass some tests. And a note on leadership. If you are a leader, understand, if you're a level 1 or 2 leader, you're not going to lead a level 4 or level 5. If you're a level 4 or level 5, you're not going to lead a level 7 or level 8. The higher the leadership you go is the higher and greater capacity of others you can influence. That's John Maxwell, his book called The Leadership Lid, or The Leadership Principle. I want to wrap up this message by saying that if you are a serious leader, number one, you're going to be committed to personal development. If you are a serious leader, number two, you're going to be committed to making sure that the welfare of your people, you're willing to fight for them. And number three, if you are a leader, you're committed to stop any kind of toxic, dysfunctional behavior at the root. Why? Because if you don't cut it out early, it will grow. If you don't stop negative early, it will grow. If you don't stop negative when it's just a splinter under the skin, it will get infected, and it will grow, and it will seethe, and it will grow, and it grow, and it will grow. Before you know it, you have to amputate the whole arm. Before it gets to that stage, you got to cut it out. Okay? So I'm real fired up today because today was a character building day, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about others, but I learned more about myself, and I learned that I'm a fighter. And you know, there's a phrase that says it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. Okay? All of you leaders out there, when you step out and you get out on the field of battle, in the marketplace, day in, day out, on the phones, on the conference calls, understand that there are wolves in sheep's clothing. There are people trying to devour from within, not just from without. It's not just the negative brother-in-law. It's not just the nagging negative aunt. Sometimes it's people right in your midst, and you have to have the discerning to be able to see it. You have to be Superman and have the eyes to see what is really going on. And if you're willing to be a leader, you're going to have to pass some tests. And as you raise up your leadership lid, and as you raise up your leadership level, you'll have greater influence. But be willing, number one, to stop any toxic behavior. Number two, commit yourself to personal development. And number three, be willing to fight. Are you willing to fight for your dream? Are you willing to fight for your team? I pray that you are. This is Erwin McKen for ErwinMcKen.com saying, I'm raising my leadership lid, and I'm going to continue to fight because my dream's worth it, and so is my team's. I hope you believe that too. We'll see you on tomorrow's video. We'll see you on tomorrow's show. Come join my team if you want to be a leader that's raising the leadership lid and taking other leaders with you at ErwinMcKen.com.